More than 13 months since students Ethan Chapin, Xana Kernodle, Madison Mogan, and Kaylee Gonzalez were found stabbed to death in a home near the University of Idaho. Today, the university is set to begin demolition of that house. Kaylee Gonzalez's family has protested the demolition from the start, fearing that key evidence could be lost before a trial even begins.
If they tear it down and one jury member says, I wanted to see that place, I wanted to go inside there, I had questions that couldn't be answered.
Now the family reaching out directly to the prosecutor's office and the university in a statement titled, "Please stop the demolition of the King Road home." In it, listing their reasons why the house should stay standing. Among them, vantage points of the surviving roommates. What could they see? Dylan Mortensen stated Kohlberger walked past her. The Gonzalez is asking, how far away was Dylan when she says she saw him, and why didn't he see her? What windows could suspect Brian Kohlberger see in from where he was parked? What can you hear inside the house? The University of Idaho telling NBC News in part, "We feel certain that now is the right time to move forward with the healing that comes with the demolition." And sharing an email they say came from the prosecutor's office, which states in part, "Based on our review of Idaho case law, the current condition of the premises is so substantially different than at the time of the homicides that a jury view would not be authorized." After months of delays in the death penalty case against Kohlberger, prosecutors have requested a summer trial date. Earlier, a judge entering a not guilty plea on the defendant's behalf. The Gonzalez family also pleading for a trial date, saying in part, the court in this matter has delayed long enough. For them, it has been agonizing.
When your child dies, they don't just die once. They die every time that you wake up.
Whenever that trial does begin, it will be live streamed on YouTube. The next big question, will the defense file a motion to move the case to a larger city like Boise, some 300 miles away? It could present a larger jury pool and help the town of Moscow to not have to relive details of the case. Now, as for the demolition of the house, it's expected to take at least 2 days. Experts say there's likely no way this demolition will be stopped. Peter, Laura.
All right, Dana, thank you for that.
Joining us now is NBC News legal analyst Danny Cevallos. Danny, good morning to you. So simple question a lot are asking, why not just protectively? Why not, as the prosecution, try to stop this, get a court order to stop this demolition from happening?
Because the prosecution likely feels they have all the evidence they need. By now, measurements have been taken, probably with lasers. They can draw up demonstrative exhibits. I've hired experts to do the same thing. Probably nowadays, you have three-dimensional demonstratives that you can bring in. They can probably almost recreate the house for the jury. But there's an argument that, well, in an abundance of caution, why not just preserve the house? In case, for example, they want jurors to hear how things sounded in the house or see firsthand what they could see within the house. Well, for the most part, houses, murder sites are not preserved. We don't shrink wrap the entire place and put caution tape over it for 2 or 3 years while the trial wends its way through the courts. But in high-profile cases, you take the normal rules and you throw them out the window. So there is an argument to be made that preservation is the safe thing to do. But then you also get into issues like the Constitution, the Takings Clause. Can the state hold this private property owned, whether it's by the university or a private person? Can they prevent them from doing anything with that without compensating them for it some years down the road?
Danny, simple question, but I think a lot of people are probably wondering, why has the judge not set a trial date yet?
This is not that uncommon. In a case like this, with all the issues coming up, the pretrial motions, everything else, these cases take a long time, particularly in state court. You know, with all the Trump cases going on, we have this idea, well, in federal court especially, you set trial dates, you move cases along. In state court, they have a lot more on their docket, and dates get moved. I can't tell you why every single time, but things happen. And you look back at some of the case orders in this case so far, they were setting dates and deadlines months ago that have already expired. That's life in litigation, particularly in high-profile criminal murder cases like this. You set dates, things happen, you have to push those dates out. But the prosecution, the state in this case, seems pretty clear. They want this to happen sooner rather than later.
It is surprising there isn't even a scheduling order in place. Danny, just quickly while we have you, the defense only has so many moves left to go here. They tried to get this case kicked out many times, failed across the board. Any chance you think they'll try to transfer venue to a different place?
Yeah, I'm surprised they haven't considered that yet. I mean, the standard for transferring a case is pretty high. There is a constitutional right, both under the federal Constitution and the Idaho state Constitution, to a fair trial. And the Supreme Court has said that in cases where pretrial publicity reaches a circus-like atmosphere, changing venue might be one of the fixes. So that is still something I think the defense could make that motion. I think the court would still entertain it. And you look at the Daybell case, which was the last high-profile case in Idaho, a murder case, which is arguably much less infamous than this Koberger case. Right. And the court there concluded that there was reason to transfer venue. But that's a different county, different courts. It's hard to say whether the defense will take that option.
All right. We will see what happens. Danny, thank you.
Hey, thanks for watching. Don't miss the Today Show every weekday at 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 Pacific on our streaming channel, Today All Day. To watch, head to today.com/allday or click the link right here.